Good afternoon, 12:38 in New York, 11:38 down here. Where should we start? Let's start with the shooting yesterday in Georgia. It looks like they're going after the father too, which is probably one of the best things they could have possibly done, because where does a 14-year-old kid, get his hands on a AR-15 rifle with high-capacity magazines apparently too? You know, they're not legal for him to possess. So I don't know how he got. Plus, I'd like to know how he got it into the school. I think they're still investigating that. But we'll see what happens there. I think it's the second case where an adult's been indicted along with the shooter, and I think it's a good idea. I'm not, somebody's got to, besides the kid, especially if the kid's been shot, killed. Somebody else has to be held responsible. You can't just let it go, and say, okay, well, screw it, he's dead. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, you do. You have to worry about it. You have to find out how this happened so you can prevent it from happening again. All right? That's one of the top stories. Another one, of course, is the Chiefs over the Ravens last night in the first NFL game of the season. I have to say, I've watched a lot of preseason football, early season football, and this was one of the better games I've seen. It actually was decided after time had run out, and it was decided on a legitimate. They had enough camera angles. It was decided by 1 inch, and that's pretty amazing. I'm not sure that I go along with that, but because I would. Depends if the heel touches inbounds first before the toe touches out of bounds, I think it's a touchdown. So I have to wait. I didn't see that part. It's a little hard for me to try and watch that. My eyes are so bad. Plus, there was problems with the reception from TV. So I don't know exactly what happened. But anyhow, it was a great game. Guys that are supposed to do certain things did it, and it was pretty good. I've often said this. There's something about Lamar that I just don't think he can take his team where it has to go. But we'll see. He's got some new weapons this year. We'll see what happens there. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Now, there's a lot of people talking about there's evidence from in one of the D.C. trials I begin that's going to become public knowledge before the election, and people are saying that this will prove that since it's never been seen in public domain before, this will prove that Trump is unfit to be president. Oh, I think if you just look at him and watch him and see what he says and does, I think you'll decide for yourself he's not suited to be president of the United States now, or president of the Bedminster Golf Club. Any place you want to go, he's not qualified to do that job. Wow, that's true. I clean things while I'm doing this. This is truly one from the house. There's another thing that's going on that seems that the mainstream is starting to cover Trump's mental breakdowns a little bit more. It appears that he's got, I don't know what to call it. They're calling it dementia. I don't know what he has. Okay, I have attention problems, not retention, attention problems. And I'm the same age he is. He can walk a hell of a lot better than I can. I don't know what's wrong with my legs and everything. I have had poor circulation in my legs all my life, and that's from smoking. That's one of the things the doctors won't tell you when you quit smoking, is that if you have arterial damage, it doesn't repair itself. Your lungs will repair themselves, but your arteries won't. So, it's something I have to deal with. Like I said, I'm around a long time longer than I ever thought I would be. You know, I never thought I'd live past 60, and here it is, 18 years later, and I'm still alive anyhow. Um, you know, I have a note down here about the gun, the AR-15. How does it? It has to be a takedown version of it or something. That's how he got it into the school. Or he could have stuck around it in the dark and planted it someplace in a bush and picked it up later on. I mean, these the way they protect the school is it's not Fort Knox, you know. It's not a gold storage area or anything, a gold vault or anything like that. You know, it's just it's supposed to be a place where kids can be kids, and they don't do that. You know, they turn it into this not a prison, but it's just not the same as when I went to school. You know, but again, you know, when I went to school, I started school around, let's see, 1954, I think. Not correctly, not 100% sure. No, that would be 8 years later, 1963. That was grammar school, you know, everything. I think it was probably before 1954. But anyhow, I dealt with nuclear attack fears. You know, the Cold War was fully blown. We didn't get mass shooter drills, you know. We got duck and cover drills. Sirens would go off. You were told to get away from the windows, or if you saw a flash in the window, you were told to jump underneath your desk. You know. And we used to kid about this. He said if we had enough time, we'd go to the top of the Empire State Building and do a shot at tequila. You know, it just the bomb went off. Two little blasts at the same time. You know. The big one and us going on, and then the bottle of tequila blowing up. You know, we were sick. We didn't care about that shit. You know, we weren't neurotic. We just never. First of all, you don't expect to live to be 30. Okay, so you make 30. Are you happy with your? If you're not completely successful, you're considered a failure. So I was probably a failure at the age 30. Then you go to age 40. You say, okay. That's it. 50, it's all downhill from here. 60, that's it. You know, I never expected that. That was the furthest I ever thought I would go, because that was most of the men in my father's family, which I was familiar with, passed away around 60, 61, 62 years old, right around that age. My father died at 61 from a myriad of diseases. Cancer was one of them. Lung cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, acute diabetes, heart failure. You know, and part of that was because he worked very, very hard. And in those days when you work, you drank very hard. You know, that's where a lot of the business was conducted, was in a bar. He was in the finance business, and the legal and finance business were the two that were conducted in a bar most of the time. So, you know, he was an alcoholic, and he could get pretty violent at times, which is one of the reasons that we stopped being close. Not that we ever really were, because when he was nice, he was never around, you know. So sad, but that's life. I don't know whether I would have been any different had he survived or not. You know, I think I had a little bit. Part of my problem was I had a little bit too much femininity in my body at that time, because I was too influenced by my mother and great aunt and aunts and aunts and stuff like that. You know, my uncles were all a lot like my father. You know, they cleared up their act later on in life. You know, but they were like that. So, you know. Never expected to live this long. But here I am. Now I'm being faced with things I never thought I'd see. You know, always thought presidential candidates were these elite people. I never paid that much attention to them. Mom, who do you like? Well, I like Kennedy. I love Kennedy. Okay, so I voted for Kennedy. Turned out Kennedy came from a criminal family and was a womanizer. So, you know, that's just another something that happened in my life that I wasn't, you know, really interested in seeing or what have you. You know, I didn't want to know about it, but it was there. Mind fart. Just forgot what I was talking about. I hate when that happens. Okay, that's part of what you see in me that I don't really see in Trump. I see him getting confused and continuing to talk. I'm continuing to talk, but I'm not going to go back and try and regain that subject right now. You know, it's just something that happened to me and hasn't happened in a while, so I don't know what that's all about. But what else can I talk about right now? Well, we got Alan Dershowitz, who's leaving the Democratic Party. I always kind of thought he was a Trumper at heart, because he just, you know, he's rich and his opinions seem to be ultra conservative, you know, and they call those people law and order people. I don't think they're law and order people. I think they're just ultra conservative criminals, you know. So we'll see what happens. It's a good game to go back to football. There's a great game tonight, Green Bay and Philadelphia. We'll see how that shapes up, you know. I forget, there are two young black quarterbacks there, so that should be interesting, you know. One of the surprising things about this season and pro football in general is the amount of black quarterbacks that there are. They're not a whole lot, but there are quite a few really good ones. And 15 years ago, you wouldn't have seen this, you know. So, because the colleges wouldn't allow them to play that position, especially the Deep South schools, you know. But then times are changing. Everything changes, you know, and I never thought I'd see the type of politics that I'm seeing today, you know, but it's a change. I guess I don't know whether that's the norm now or we'll see something different. Will we see a civil war if Trump loses? Well, I don't think he's capable of being the commander-in-chief, so I don't know who's going to order those people around, you know, and I don't know how many people are willing to march into gunfire for Donald Trump, you know. It's kind of a situation there. I mean, it's you get people who say they'll do anything, but there's that thing about that happened on January 6th, was the mob mentality. Once the group is motivated, people go along with it. I forget the terminology they use to describe it, but it's a psychological phenomenon. They will continue to fight, and they will continue to go on, and they'll continue to believe what they believe. But there's certain leaders, if they're told, if they see these people doing stuff, they're going to do it. Go along with it, you know. That's like the I can't remember the guy's name. The guy got shot in a doorway in New York City, and he was shot 60 times. And everybody says, the guys had to reload to do that back then. So how did he get shot 60 times? Somebody fired once, and then it's a contagious thing. You know, they think they're in a gunfight. They don't know where the shots are coming from, what's going on. And until somebody can gain control, or somebody wants to gain control, they continue to shoot. You know? Well, listen, I'm going to try and remember what I was talking about before. No, I'm not going to even try. You know, some of this stuff I look up, I say, it's not really interesting, and I start talking about it, and that's why I think I forget about it, because I'm not really interested in it, you know. But anyhow, just so you guys know, when you can come back tomorrow and laugh at me some more, all right? Have a good day.